Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I'm going to answer a question I got asked the other day in the comments. Of course, it might be 2 or 3 months before this video comes up, but I even made a status about it. As I had someone ask me, hey, when you drive against the floor on a deadlift, how hard should you push? To me, I was kind of puzzled by that question because to me, the answer to that is very, very obvious. But I think it's important to remember that we have a variety of different experience levels, skill levels, knowledge levels. In my comments, there's a lot of novices there, and maybe they don't know this sort of basic stuff. Just like when I tell you guys that, on a bench press, you should be squeezing the bar as hard as humanly possible, even if you're warming up with the empty bar. Okay? All right? So the question becomes on driving a deadlift off the floor, because people always notice, they're like, you are so fast off the floor. They're like, you're even fast off the floor on deficit deadlifts. Well, it's because I push off the floor. And the question is, how hard should you drive against the floor? I don't know. That's like saying, how hard should you drive against a leg press with your leg drive if you have 2,000 pounds loaded up on the slide? Or for Brits, that's about 900 kg for you non-Americans in here. How hard would you need to push? Well, you're like, if I had that much weight on there, I would probably push with every ounce of my being. I would push as if my life depends on it, because it probably does. I'm going to get hit, my knees exploding into my chest if I don't. If I don't push with everything I have with that weight, I could possibly die. Okay, right? That's what you should do on a deadlift. When you get on a deadlift and you go to pull it from the floor, you should drive your legs, your feet into the floor, not your heels, not your toes, the whole foot, like a tripod. You should drive the entire foot into the floor. Watch me do it right here on this 615. Watch me drive. I'm wedging and then driving my feet into the floor. You should drive as hard as humanly possible, as if your life or the life of your firstborn child depends on you giving everything that you have. And you should do that on your warm-ups. You'll say, what? They thought I was going to say on a max. How about your first warm-up? How about your first warm-up? And I know you guys are watching some of Michelle's older footage there that I worked in, to where she was still learning where to grip on the sumo. But notice she still had leg drive. And that's the point. Well, let's come over and talk about that idea. Why would you treat a warm-up any different than a 1-rep max? Why would you treat it any different? Here's what I'm going to say as far as warming up goes. Any warm-up that you do for a big lift that you do not perfectly replicate the neural drive, the grip, the driving into the floor that you would on a 100% all-out competition max, don't bother with. It's a waste of your time. You're not even warming up. Okay? It's a complete waste of time. You wasted a rep that you could have just completely skipped if you don't drive as hard as you possibly can on that warm-up. It should be the same as your 1-rep max. You should exert the same force that you do on a max. If you don't, what was the point? Isn't that why we warm up? Okay, what is the purpose of a warm-up before lifting? This is why we don't have to warm up for 10 rep sets and shit like that. That's a waste of time too. Okay, what's the purpose of a warm-up? Again, noobs don't seem to know this. A lot of personal trainers don't know this. They have people jogging and doing all sorts of silly shit, stretching. Yeah, that's why you're weak. Purpose of a warm-up is to prime your nervous system to get into your groove to do a 1-rep max. It's to perfectly practice the technique on the ramp up. Why wouldn't you drive the same way into the floor with your first rep with 315 or 405 or whatever you warm up with on a deadlift? I these days A warm up for me, like on that 615 pull, I did 3 reps that day on the deadlift, right? I did 3 reps that day. My first warm up was with 405. And I'm sorry, but if you can't pull 405 cold, you can't walk in and deadlift 405, you're out of shape. You're weak and you're out of shape. Now, if you're a woman, I'll give you the exception, because the 405 is an elite deadlift for them. For a grown man who has significant muscle, 405 is a warm-up. What I did, I mean, granted, I squatted first, so that warmed me up more, and I did like 5 reps on the squat that day. I did 5 whole reps that day on the squat. Did 3 reps on the deadlift. So we did a 405, a 495, 615. I yanked that 405 and that 495 just like a max. I squeezed them just as hard. I drive into the floor. I wedged the same as the 1 rep max. Hey, it prepared me for that 615. And by the way, that's a source of annoyance to have people say, oh, you're teaching people to not warm up. You guys don't see me getting hurt doing this. Other than that lat pull a while back, which was a lat pull, have you guys ever seen me get hurt on a deadlift? Do you ever see me get hurt on a squat? Those are what my warm-ups look like, and I'm in my late 40s. Come on, guys. I mean, how out of shape are you people? I get it if you're not in shape. I get it if you're not in shape. We'll get in shape. Build your tendons. Get your work capacity up. Get your GPP up. Right? Get in shape. If you're in shape, it shouldn't be a problem. If you're strong, you're a big, strong guy, good conditioning, there's no reason you can't do that. Same with the girls. Probably even truer for the women than it is for the men, because their neural drive's a little lower. Their work capacity is higher. They're even less likely to have issues. It's easier for them to get their GPP up relative to their max strength, actually, to be honest. So this holds even more true for them. But men, you can't do that. You're out of shape. No, I'm not calling you a pussy. I'm not making it a manly, masculine thing. I'm just telling you you're out of fucking shape. You can't deadlift the way that I just did. Your form is bad or you're out of shape. Fix it. But your warm-ups should be like your maxes. And that means when you drive off the floor, you drive with everything that you have. Every ounce of your being, as if your life depends on it, on your warm-up. And then obviously you do the same thing on a max, because it's supposed to be identical. That's the idea. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.